Buenas noches, bienvenidos. Comenzamos la rueda de prensa. Por favor, recuerden, hacemos una pregunta por intervención y antes de identificarse con vuestro nombre y medio. We're going to start now the press conference. Please remember that we do one question per intervention and you have to identify with yourself, with your name and the company that you represent.
Hola, mister. Buenas noches.
Hello, good evening.
Directo para el larguero de la cadena SER. Habrá muchas explicaciones futbolísticas y me imagino que tendrá que ver.
Explanations, and I suppose you'd have to watch the game again to understand what happened on the pitch. But from the outside, one of the most important things that we've seen is the lack of intensity or losing the duels, even though physically today Liverpool were above Real Madrid. Obviously, what are your feelings? I don't have those feelings. I think we competed well. There were actions in that first half. I think Szoboszlai had an opportunity in that first half. We played at a high rhythm. I think what we were lacking today was perhaps to hurt them in the final third and to be a real threat. And then the second part, it was just small details. At half-time, we said we needed to be in the game to have an opportunity, and we conceded lots of fouls. Thibaut Courtois wasn't able to save that header from the set piece, but it was a bit difficult for us today. I'm not going to complain about my team. We gave it a good go. It's the first game that we've had in this group phase against Liverpool, and then we'll start to think about what's coming in the future.
Can I just ask about Trent and obviously the reaction that he got when he came in? You've spoken to him. How is he, and how did that impact the team as well when you're obviously pushing and trying for that equaliser? The fact that it kind of enhanced the kind of hostility towards the team at that point.
Well, it was being a very intense game. Atmosphere at Anfield in a Champions League game against top classic game in European football, and we needed his quality. We needed his, his threat from the wing. It could be expected. Professional, mature, he was ready for that, so no problem.
Mister.
After a start of the season where we've seen you've made many changes to your starting 11, you went with the same starting 11 as the Clásico. Is this going to be your starting 11 in terms of structure and names? These are decisions that we take, and depending on the players that are playing well, are in a good moment. We're still in November. We'll have a really demanding period that we're going into, and for me, today they worked well. They play well in the Clásico. Today we look at things that we could improve on, but we obviously go away with a bitter flavour in our mouth, but we have to analyse what we did today and think about the weekend's game at Rayo. Hi, Xabi. Do you have the feeling that you're almost in a roller coaster of emotions? You win the Clásico and then you have ups and downs, like when you were beat at the Metropolitano against Atletico Madrid. When you play against really well-organised teams, is that a problem for you? No, I don't think we have ups and downs. Obviously, the game in the Metropolitano when we lost was a poor moment for us, but we have to be consistent with our performance, with the demands we put upon ourselves, with the details in this game. We have to understand that we can't commit so many fouls because the game can get away from you like it did today. There are other aspects we can improve on, of course, but I don't think it's ups and downs for us. I think it's just those demands that create instability if you think you're always up and always down. We have to look at today as a defeat, an isolated defeat. We competed, we were equal to them, and we have to learn from these defeats. Can I ask you about the changes you made? Brahim came on towards the end. Trent came on towards the end. I don't know if you think in the final third of the game, did you feel that you had the team that you needed up front, and what was missing? I think we were lacking that threat in the final third. I think to break that final defensive line and create clear chances was difficult for us. And on our one-on-ones, we weren't able to cause problems. We changed Valverde because he had some discomfort, but with Trent we wanted to have that threat down the right. You always look to change the dynamic a little bit, to look for other associations within the players, connections. We had quality on the bench to be able to affect the game. We were lacking that little bit today, and they were just small details that fell in their favour. You said that it had been an even game, more or less. The first half was equal. It seems that Courtois has stopped an even tougher result for Real Madrid, and perhaps there were no chances for Real Madrid in that first half. What do you think about that? No, for me, the most worrying aspect, I would say, is that we need to learn from this, is when in those moments when they are pressuring you, which can happen, when we're at home with our fans, we manage to do this as well. It's about not conceding those free kicks, those corners. Thibaut was fantastic. Szoboszlai managed to win the ball and get through, and Courtois saved us in that moment, but it was a very intense game. You mentioned, could you talk to me a little bit about the centre of the pitch? How would you analyse the way that you were able to bring the ball out? I think sometimes we came out down the left with Alvaro. We wanted to have a connection and perhaps with a player to be free. And I think Jude, when he received the ball, he was very well marked today. And the idea was for him to find a connection with Kylian. I think we started the first half. We grew into the game in the first half. And then we managed to play in their half. But we didn't really, and we lacked that threat in their area. I think this season you've used 5 players on the right wing. Mastantuono, Brahim, Camavinga, Bellingham, who played for a period during the Clásico. Camavinga played a bit more in the Clásico than he did today. Is that the position where you are less convinced in terms of who you want to put there? I'm sure, I don't know whether you've understood that you've used 5 players in that position. How do you analyse that right-hand side? We have players who can play in different positions. As you've said, Eduardo can play in different places. Arda can also play in that position. Fede, Valverde can play there. It depends on the game, the moment the player is in, the team that we're facing, and we look at our options. Sometimes you have a player with a different type of profile who's not an out-and-out winger. We have a big squad and we have to evaluate what we have for each game. I don't know if the thing that annoys you so much is the way you came out in that second half and you received 3 chances from your opponent. Is that the most annoying thing, straight after half-time? I think that's the aspect, and that's the area we've conceded more chances. I think they are moments that can be avoided because we were close to them. They managed to get in our half a lot more. And then afterwards, they have players that can shoot well from outside the box. But I think we've committed far too many fouls this evening.
Hi Arne, well done tonight. How impressive a performance was that, do you feel?
Impressive, because we played against an incredible side, team that's in a unbelievable run of form. Only lost once, won all the other games. So yeah, if you then can win against them, but also with the performance we had, that's very positive. But apart from everything we can say, we beat them because of a set piece. So it's nicer to talk about this if you win, because if you lose, people come up with that I try to find excuses. But a positive set piece balance is the minimum you need to get a result 9 out of 10 times, and that's what we had today.
You also won because you kept a second clean sheet on the bounce, and arguably Conor Bradley set the tone defensively for the performance as well. I just wonder then how much of a corner you feel has been turned in this season, if you can talk in that way at this moment now.
So let's be clear, we had a very bad run of form in terms of results. No excuse in the world can make up for us losing so many games. But we had to play a lot of games in a small amount of time. We have not hardly any rest in between when we then faced a team that had a lot of rest. Tonight we played against a team that played on Saturday as well, so the both of us had 2 days rest. Then it's helpful to play in a home game, because from the last 8 I think we played 6 away from home. So the fans can give you just a little bit of an extra edge if you are maybe a little bit tired. Conor was outstanding. It was very nice. Last season he was outstanding against Real Madrid, but he had to go off after 80 minutes because of an injury. And now 3 days after he played 90 minutes against Villa, he again played 90 minutes with incredible intensity against Vinicius. I told the players before the game they've scored 26 goals in La Liga. And Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius have 24 goal contributions together. So if you want to have any chance of winning a game, you should defend your set piece as well, because that's the way teams score. But great individuals can score goals as well, and these two definitely can. And Conor defended very good against Vinicius.
When you're seeing the game out as well, how much of an extra edge did the fans give you with the introduction of Trent? Because it seemed to make the atmosphere even more intense when he was introduced into the game.
No, I was impressed by the atmosphere throughout the whole 90 minutes, even before the game already. So I think the fans helped us over 90 minutes, and not only that time when Trent was on the pitch.
Did you speak to Trent as well?
Only short afterwards. I gave him a hug. I don't even exactly know what I said, but probably not a lot. Every time I will meet him, I will either give him a hug or talk to him, because he's been very special to me as a player and as a human being.
Hi Arne, Juan Joe for Francisco in Spain. What have been the common points between the performance last Saturday against Aston Villa and today? And what are the strengths from the team from these two performances that you want to build from them for future matches?
The common points, I think both teams played quite similar against us. Maybe the difference was that I told the players today that I wanted them to either press really high or go to a low block, because Vinicius and Mbappe are, for so many reasons, incredible players, but their deep runs, timing of deep runs, their pace is next level. So don't give away any space in behind, and that's what our last line did very well tonight. So a very solid defensive performance in both games. But it also helps if you are not 1 goal down or 2 goals down, because if you're 1 or 2 goals down, you need to take extra risk. You need to force much more, and if you have to force and take extra risk, then you're sometimes a bit exposed on the other side as well. But in my opinion, in general, even the games we've lost, we have hardly conceded a chance, except for the set-piece goals, of course, we conceded.
Hi Arne, on Alexis McAllister, scored against Real Madrid last year as well, so I guess that's quite a nice habit to have, but also, do you feel that after the injuries he's had at the start of the season, he's now finally back to his best?
Yeah, but I don't think he's the only one. I think I just spoke about Conor Bradley, who now, I think for the first time in a long time, played twice 90 minutes in 3 days. The same is to be said about Maka. I think all the players, they need a bit of time. Sometimes to adjust to the Premier League, sometimes to adjust to the limited rest we've had, and then in other leagues, I think 15 to 20 games in almost any other league if you are a big club, or easy wins. But in the Premier League, there's never an easy win, and that is something you need to adjust to as well. So if you miss pre-season, or if you come from a different league, or if you're a bit younger, then these are things you need to adjust to. And Conor Bradley has only played 30, 40 games for us, and Mackay is after Villa and also, by the way, against Palace, where he had a decent performance. He and the team are getting fitter and fitter, and that is the first step we have to make for us to get results in again.
James.
Arne, that's 2 years running that you've kept Kylian Mbappe largely quiet. He looks pretty much unstoppable against everyone else. Is there something special you're doing to him? You mentioned there that you said to the players beforehand, you pointed out the stats. Is that what you have to do in terms of keeping them focused ahead of a game like a test like that?
I didn't even tell them that in the Champions League he scored 2 goals against Marseille and 1 goal. He didn't score the goal against Juve, but Vinicius was the lead up to that goal, and I think he scored 3 against Kairat Almaty. So I don't think you can ever control these 2 completely, but you can do a few things well. But I even saw today, so the biggest chance they got was when Vinicius played the ball towards Bellingham, because they have more than only these 2. They have all very good players, and that is difficult to control them completely, because Kylian Mbappé was more than a few times in dangerous zones. But I think we did almost the maximum you can do against these 2 individuals.
Ollie.
Arne, you've been asked about a number of individuals, but could I just ask you about Florian Wirtz, because he had it was a big moment to recall him, and he had a very big performance tonight as well. Do you feel like this kind of game suited him technically, or was it just a case of him playing at a high level?
I've said it many times, and I can say it one more time, but it's all up to everyone else to have a different opinion or the same opinion as I have. But if you come from a different league and you have to play every 2 days, and there are so many away games need to be played against certain style of plays, you need to adapt to that. And that goes almost for everyone, let alone for a player that's 22. And I think he's working incredibly hard to adapt as soon as he can, and he's been so unlucky throughout his career here at Liverpool, because even today he created so many chances for the team, but the goal we scored, it wasn't an assist or a goal from him. So I wouldn't even say give him a bit of time, because we gave him already that time to adapt. I played him many times for him to adapt to the Premier League, but I didn't play him every single game, because that's not what I do with almost any player, but also not with players that either miss pre-season or very young or come from a different league, and they need a little bit of time to adapt. If you have 2 days of rest after the Frankfurt game and you have to go away to Brentford, that's different probably than go away, have an away game in the Bundesliga or in the Eredivisie or in any other league in the world, because this league is the best paid league I think in the world. Over 20 teams, so you can understand that so many great individuals and athletes are playing here, mainly from 25 to 30, and at some teams you also see 22-year-olds.
Well done. Thank you.
You're welcome.